At 4:52 a.m., 172 miles southeast of Malta, 4 Sea Baby USVs are exactly 11 seconds away from ending Russia's liquefied natural gas monopoly. Each 20-foot craft is packed with 1,870 pounds of thermobaric explosives, skimming just 3 feet above the Mediterranean swells toward a 909-foot tanker. The global energy market is in a state of chaos. While the US and EU have tightened sanctions on the Arctic LNG 2 project, the Kremlin is laughing. Putin has been bragging that his shadow fleet of LNG tankers is untouchable, a floating lifeline funding his war machine. But tonight, Ukraine is launching a new kind of energy war. They aren't going after oil wells or refineries, they are hitting the Kremlin's floating wallet directly. This is not a typical kamikaze strike. This is a 72-hour surgical hunt. 4 Sea Baby USVs have been patiently trailing this giant for 3 days, waiting for the exact moment when the floating wallet is most vulnerable. The tactical map on the operator's screen shows a red digital overlay. The tanker is moving at a sluggish 17 knots with its AIS, the automatic identification system, turned off. It's a shadow vessel, meaning it has no military escort and relies on commercial radar that is effectively blind to a drone hugging the waves. 5:05 a.m. The swarm of 4 Sea Baby USVs is currently executing silent stalking mode, a grueling 72-hour predatory crawl through the heart of the Mediterranean. To remain invisible to the Arctic Metagaz's commercial-grade Furuno radar, the swarm maintains a distance of 20 to 30 miles, far beyond the visual or electronic horizon of a merchant vessel. They are wave-hugging, moving at a leisurely 12 to 15 knots to minimize their wake and acoustic signature. In the 3 to 5 foot Mediterranean swells, the low-profile carbon fiber hulls are indistinguishable from floating debris or sea clutter. 1,400 miles away, inside the Ukrainian command center, the environment is surgically quiet. Despite the thermostat being set to a cool 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the operator's palms are slick with sweat. He is 72 hours into a 24/7 vigil, rotating shifts with high-level AI oversight. His monitors display a fusion of US satellite telemetry and encrypted Starlink data, tracking the 909-foot Russian giant as it plows through the international shipping lanes. The lead Sea Baby is tethered via a fiber-optic link, acting as the eye for the group, while the other 3 units operate in a slave configuration, mimicking every micro-adjustment of the leader to maintain a tight, stealthy formation. The Ukrainian AI software continuously processes weather data, adjusting the drone's trim to match the frequency of the waves, ensuring they remain buried in the ocean's natural movement. The 72-hour countdown is entering its final stage. The patience of the hunt is about to meet the violence of the strike. The Russians think they are alone in the dark. They are actually just at the end of a very long, invisible leash. 5:23 a.m. The 72-hour silent hunt abruptly shifts into the terminal sprint phase. The 4 Sea Baby USVs throttle up, their twin water jets pushing them to a synchronized 40 miles per hour. This is the most dangerous transition in the mission. The drones must remain in wave-hugging mode to stay beneath the tanker's radar. But the increased speed creates a larger wake, increasing the risk of visual detection. The Mediterranean, however, has other plans. A sudden north wind causes the sea state to deteriorate rapidly, sending 6 to 8 foot swells crashing across the flight path of the 20-foot drones. For a vessel this size, these aren't just waves, they are mountain ranges of moving water. At 5:28 a.m., a massive rogue swell strikes Sea Baby 3, knocking it 15 degrees off course and nearly flipping the 1,870-pound payload. The operator's pulse spikes as he watches the drone's telemetry. If Sea Baby 3 is spotted now, the entire 3-day operation is compromised. The solution comes from a fusion of Ukrainian innovation and Allied intelligence. The mission's AI flight controller immediately integrates real-time micro-weather data from a French meteorological satellite, calculating the exact frequency and crest height of the incoming swells. The AI executes a surfer protocol, automatically adjusting the trim and throttle of Sea Baby 3 to utilize the wave's own energy to slide back into formation. In exactly 4 minutes of high-tension maneuvering, the drone is back in the mesh network. On the bridge of the Arctic Metagaz, the captain stares at his Furuno radar screen. A faint flickering contact appears for a split second at the 8-mile mark, a result of Sea Baby 3's temporary loss of wave shielding. He pauses, his finger hovering over the alarm. Then, he looks at the rough sea and the 8-foot whitecaps outside the window. He scoffs, dismissing the return as sea clutter or a pod of dolphins struggling in the storm. The dramatic irony is lethal. The Russian captain thinks the ocean is his enemy. He has no idea the ocean is currently acting as a 15-mile shield for the 4 ghosts breathing down his neck. 5:35 a.m. lead drone 1, tethered by its 9-micron glass fiber cable, surges ahead of the pack. It activates an onboard aerosol generator, spewing a thick, blinding curtain of white chemical smoke while executing aggressive 45-degree zigzag maneuvers. The goal is simple: force every eye on the Russian bridge to focus on the smoke and the noise while the other 3 units move into the blind spots created by the tanker's massive hull. On the bridge of the Arctic Metagaz, the sea clutter has officially turned into a high-speed nightmare. The captain hits the general alarm, the klaxons wail echoing across the 909-foot deck. Crewmen scramble to the rails, activating the ship's high-pressure water cannons, massive monitors designed to repel Somali pirates with thousands of pounds of hydraulic force. The 136 million-pound giant attempts a desperate zigzag, but the physics of its mass are unforgiving. The turning radius is nearly half a mile wide, making the ship respond like a freight train on ice. The situation escalates in seconds. Sea Baby 2 is caught in a direct blast from a water cannon. Thousands of gallons of pressurized seawater slam into the 20-foot hull, pushing the bow completely under the surface. The operator triggers the drone's secondary stabilization. Sea Baby 2 ducks into the tanker's own massive wake, using the hull's displacement to find a momentary pocket of calm water. It utilizes magnetic stay clamps to latch onto a rusted steel protrusion near the waterline, holding its position like a parasite until the water cannon sweeps past. Once clear, the drone re-engages its twin water jets and surges back into the formation. The Russian bridge crew, now in a state of total panic, pushes the tanker's engines to maximum output, hitting 19 knots. They activate their civilian-grade electronic warfare suite, a broadband jammer intended to disrupt standard GPS and radio frequencies. They broadcast a frantic mayday toward Moscow, screaming that they are under attack by a swarm of unidentifiable objects. But the electronic assault is a wasted effort. The fiber-optic tether on the lead drone is completely immune to radio frequency noise. The 1.5 gigabit data stream remains crystal clear, allowing the Ukrainian operator to navigate through the spray, smoke, and jamming as if they didn't exist. 5:41 a.m. The Mediterranean swells subside momentarily, creating a low-wave window that exposes the tanker's most vulnerable structural point: the midship section housing the primary LNG cooling arrays and the 1.5-inch thick cryogenic membrane tank insulation. The 136 million pounds of liquefied natural gas are held at a constant minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Any disruption to this delicate thermal balance will turn the cargo from an asset into an atmospheric bomb. This is the moment the Ukrainian silent cascade attack was designed for. As lead drone 1 continues its high-speed zigzag distraction at 50 miles per hour, drawing the frantic attention of the Russian crew and their water cannons, drones 2, 3, and 4 initiate their terminal approach. They drop to a speed of 25 knots to maximize the precision of their magnetic stay clamps. These are not kamikaze strikes in the traditional sense. They are surgical attachments. The physics of the silent cascade are brutal. Instead of attempting to breach the massive steel outer hull directly, the Sea Baby USVs are equipped with specialized thermite-shaped charges. Their objective is to pierce the 1.5-inch cryogenic insulation layer, introducing ambient Mediterranean heat directly into the supercooled LNG tanks. This creates an instantaneous boil-off effect, where the liquid gas expands 600 times in volume, turning the interior of the 909-foot tanker into a 136 million-pound pressure cooker. The situation reaches a breaking point as Sea Baby 4 enters the 500-yard kill zone. A Russian crewman on the lower deck manages to direct a high-pressure monitor directly at 4's bow. The hydraulic force is so intense it threatens to shear the drone's carbon fiber hull from its water jets. 1,400 miles away, the Ukrainian operator sees the drone's telemetry data turn red. 7 seconds to impact, he notes, his jaw locked in concentration. At the 6-second mark, the operator executes the mission's defining technical maneuver, a 3.6-degree yaw adjustment. This precise correction isn't just about avoiding the water. It is a calculated move to ensure the shaped charge strikes the hull at a perfect 90-degree angle of incidence, preventing the explosive jet from ricocheting off the curved steel. To a casual observer, it's a minor twitch. To a structural engineer, it is the difference between failure and total destruction. On the bridge of the Arctic Metagaz, the captain finally realizes the trap has closed. His radar is screaming, his water cannons are hitting empty water, and the thermal cameras show 3 low-profile shapes already latched onto his hull like parasitic wasps. "Abandon ship!" he bellows into the PA system, his voice cracking with the realization that $100 million of cargo is now a timer counting towards zero. 5:43 a.m. Inside the 141-foot wide hull of the Arctic Metagaz, the silent cascade reaches its terrifying conclusion. As the 3 1,870-pound thermobaric shaped charges detonate simultaneously, they don't just punch a hole in the steel, they vaporize the 1.5-inch cryogenic insulation layers. This creates a thermal bridge between the 60-degree Fahrenheit Mediterranean water and the minus 260-degree Fahrenheit liquefied natural gas. The result is a physics-defying boil-off. The liquid gas expands 600 times in volume within milliseconds, turning the interior of the 909-foot giant into a massive pressure cooker. The structural integrity of the tanker, designed for weight and capacity rather than combat, fails at a pressure exceeding 3,000 pounds per square inch. The ship literally splits in two as a 300-foot pillar of blue and orange fire erupts into the pre-dawn sky, visible to coastal watchers 170 miles away in Malta. This isn't just a sinking. It is an atmospheric liquidation of a $100 million asset. The 136 million pounds of LNG, once intended to fuel the Kremlin's war machine, is now nothing more than a localized thermal anomaly in the middle of a major shipping lane. The aftermath is a scene of absolute strategic humiliation. As the two halves of the 909-foot monster vanish beneath the waves within 2 hours, the Shadow Fleet myth is permanently shattered. The 30-man Russian crew, having followed the captain's frantic abandon ship order, are plucked from the water by a Maltese rescue vessel, watching as their $150 million pride becomes a permanent reef. This strike isn't a fluke. It is the crowning achievement of a 72-hour hunt that reflects Ukraine's broader strategy of total energy decapitation. By targeting the Arctic Metagaz, Ukraine has effectively cut a primary artery of the Arctic LNG-2 project, the very lifeline Putin claimed was sanctioned proof. This follows the pattern of the devastating 2024 and 2025 strikes on the Black Sea Fleet and the Baltic refineries, where Ukraine proved that expensive Russian infrastructure is merely a fragile target for a patient enemy. While the world is distracted by the 13% oil spike in the Strait of Hormuz, Ukraine has opened a second front in the Mediterranean. They have forced every shadow vessel in the Russian fleet to reconsider their routes, adding thousands of miles and millions of dollars in insurance costs to every shipment. The strategic ROI is staggering. 4 $150,000 Sea Baby drones versus a $150 million loss and the total disruption of a multi-billion-dollar energy project. The lesson for the Kremlin is brutal. You can hide your AIS signals, you can use proxy flags, and you can build billion-dollar tankers, but you cannot hide from a nation that has the patience to wait 72 hours for a single perfect 3.6-degree adjustment. The floating wallet is at the bottom of the sea, and the energy war has just moved into a lethal new phase. Now, a question for the maritime strategists in the comments. If you were the Russian Admiralty, how do you protect a 900-foot tanker from a swarm of 20-foot ghosts? Is it even possible to secure a shadow fleet without a full military escort? Let us know your thoughts below. If you want to see more breakdowns of how Ukraine is rewriting the book on naval energy warfare, hit that like button and subscribe. Putin's wallet just hit the seafloor and the transaction was final. Slava Ukraini, folks. Bye for now.